So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Playdate number 4 so far. We've been having a great season and a great first game as well going up between those two. A little bit of a long one, though, and all 5 maps there, and actually only walking away with a 2-0 victory over towards, I believe it's EPS at the very start. But it was a close game on some maps. I think Ensk kind of decided that one quite abruptly when they pretty much trashed their opponents, Lucky Karaki. But, as you said, we've got a great game on the way coming up for you right now, which will be CPlay up against TCM. Now, I think I just want to point out towards this, CPlay are very low down in the table currently, very near the bottom, but they did have 2 of the hardest opponents on paper to start with. As TCM, they've been kind of forging their way through no matter who the opponent. And as you said, a lot of question marks around the performance of CPlay here. Can they kind of put to bed all the issues that might have been plaguing them? Your thoughts towards these two?
So I think CPlay have to prove themselves to be a top team now. They've had the hard games. Lucky Cracky 3-0 was not an acceptable result for that team, especially Lucky Cracky just got beaten by Evil Panda Squad. And you know, CPlay have got a lot of road to cover at the end of the day. Only ones who really play a lot of competitive games in 742 up to this point is Dr. Toya, Ruster. You know, those 2 are really the only 2 who've been around. The rest of them are just Unicums who've been playing in Clan Wars and, you know, the occasional 742, but they're not a proven team like, for instance, TCM Gaming, who have definitely, you know, been a top 4 team. And players to look out for, at least for CPlay, we can start Nervax been doing well. Ruster, just absolutely phenomenal. You know, that's the basic problem for CPlay. Ruster and the Killzor have been so far ahead of the rest of the team. The rest of the team are just way down in damage compared to them too. It's basically just Ruster carrying them forwards. And for TCM, I mean, they just need to be the consistent team to beat them. In terms of stats, CPlay not bad overall in fight coordination, definitely being their weakest one. They've proved that so far as well.
Yeah, they certainly have. First 2 games very impressive. Sadly didn't pick up the victories, but they certainly looked like they could cause trouble. Then they had that one surprise result, which kind of threw us back down to the opinion of we're not sure. So we'll have to see how it goes throughout and see if they can really step up. But let's have a look at TCM stats right here. And they are the model of consistency, mostly in their fight coordination and the decision making. Very talented in that sort of aspect. And, well, your predictions throughout here, who's going to pick this one up?
I think TCM Gaming probably have the advantage going into Himmelsdorf. They have a lot of good heavy tank players. I think it's pretty close though. Again, you know, Himmelsdorf, every single one of these teams is capable of being another team on a given day. It's just how you manage to get yourself together, how you get the coordination right. Generally though, I think TCM Gaming are going to take the first map. Whether CPlay can recover from that is going to be the key point, because if CPlay takes the first map, they'll have that momentum which they need, and they could very well 3-0.
No, I completely agree. It could be a real downward spiral. And guys, obviously, as Melly said, do make sure you get on, involved via Twitter or Facebook. Obviously, tweet through to us as well. We love hearing from you ourselves because, well, we have nothing else to do all day. I just sit there and read your tweets. So tweet at They Call Me Pansy and at LaughterWOT, and let us know who you think's going to walk away with this. Will it be the new kids on the block, CPlay, who have been causing a little bit of trouble for even the best of teams, but yet to really make their stamp with a victory? Well, it will be the ever-consistent TCM who will just turn up and do the job they know they can do. So make sure you go through on Twitter and make sure you get involved with us. So I think we are just waiting on a couple of issues to be resolved between these two. I think someone's internet did drop out, but sorry, who did you go for overall? Was it TCM?
Overall, it's going to be hard. CPlay, obviously, very defensive team, very set back. They are one of the teams to have one of the longest games apart from Virtus Pro, so that could be definite factor in this. And whether that's going to make a big difference, for instance, on the maps they don't like, where they're just going to turtle down with very heavy lineups, we'll have to wait and see. I think that's generally what they're going to do. The maps they like are going to be for the aggressive lineups, the aggressive tanks, and the maps they don't like, they're just going to say, come at us, you know, what can you do, TCM? But generally, I think TCM have been the better team. You can't deny that. They're in a top 4 position at the moment. They were second and first behind Virtus Pro at one point. So CPlay obviously have that on their shoulders a little bit, and I think, you know, generally in terms of consistency, TCM are the better team. One thing they do a lot of in previous season is go 2-3 down, which they have to fix.
Let's find out if they can, because we're now seconds away from the first map, Himmelsdorf. So, welcome into the first map. Himmelsdorf is coming up, and in the north, in red, it's TCM up against, well, CPlay in the south in blue. And now, Himmelsdorf, we didn't have time to really break it down, but the tank picks are fairly regular, and has it kept true to that here?
Yeah, triple 5100 from both teams, double IS3, double tier 1 standard stuff. On Himmelsdorf, standard stuff coming out from TCM at the start as well. Eurofish, Der Zernichter, and Devils, obviously YZNE as well, heading up towards that hill. Still Mojo in the middle in the IS3, going for the hull down position, and finally Yukai, the final player for TCM, going to be taking the final hull down position or not, heading towards the left side indeed, not going for the crossfire. CPlay very heavy over towards that left side with most of their tanks.
Well, you did say before the most likely way of winning this map is using that railroad towards this side. They have hedged their bets slightly with Dr. Tor, and I believe that's Ruster there over by the hill, but at the moment, as you notice, the vast majority of their firepower is still around here, down that 1-2 line. Even Vector and Dekilzor still around this spot, and I must say I've been very impressed with Dekilzor in this position, taking on a lot of heavy hitters, but he's always come out pretty much golden from here. At the moment, Treves has taken a little bit of damage, but as is Magus. But it's only the tier 1s battling it through, but they are very important on this map. But still, whose start do you like a little bit more here?
Well, CPlay don't look like they want to be a passive team. Sending Trevor's very aggressively, obviously want to get the spots out, see exactly what's around this area. Still Mojo just gets spotted. I think Yukai was also spotted, so CPlay know that, well, a little bit short on tanks for TCM over that left side. But whether they can react on it does look like they are going to go forwards.
Vector does get one towards Yukai, Nervax as well. Yukai's backing away. This is a surprising amount of aggression from CPlay. I'm not sure what to make of this. This is very early as well.
Yeah, Mangos is going to have to try and stay alive for as long as possible, delay CPlay as they go forwards, and really it's going to be how fast and how well TCM can react off this play, how fast they can get into good positions off that hill. YZNE now streaming down. Devil and Eurofish do look like they're out of position.
Let's see if that's going to come into effect. Still Mojo is there, Durs is there, YZNE are also in position, so it looks like this has been the game plan all along. Dekilzor and Vector just getting immediately into spot. Still Mojo comes flying around in the IS3 of his own. Not yet fully challenging, and I'm waiting to see what the end game plan here is coming out from the CPlay side. They still have Ruster fairly far back. Nervax as well, looking like they want to hedge their bets here, not go for an all-in crazy push, but they've lost their tier 1s and a counter cap has begun. This is the threat here, and I'm worried a little. This was almost short-sighted, but Ruster is going back to deal with that problem. But still, they're at a bit of disadvantage at the moment.
Eurofish is going to be having to play this one perfectly. It's pretty much all down to him. If he can catch Ruster on the side, which it does look like he can, Ruster, the main player for CPlay, then he's going to be in a very good position. This has to be played perfect by Ural. Yeah,
but Ruster's playing it smart as well. He's backing away. Now, obviously, the time could shoot up a little bit if the others come around. We are seeing the exchange going down by the opposition flag. The Dead Zone and Still Mojo exchanging. Dead Zone will fall, and naturally that's Still Mojo picking up the kill there. Vector now alone. You can see Ruster now joined with Nervax can go on the flank around the back of Uralfish here. Actually doing a nice little split from the side. But this is not looking ideal. They've still got 4 tanks up, but they're very much split here and at a certain disadvantage unless one of them can turn something around. Nervax going for the first peak. They need to reset the cap more than anything because it's getting pretty damn fast right now. And from the side, here comes Ruster, finds YZNE, but the cap is still going on. They finally reset it, but 10 seconds on the go here. This is not looking too pretty at all for CPlay. This could be all over before it began. 5 seconds, 4. Ruster needs to land these shells and take these guys down. 4 seconds. They're keeping it here just about 2 seconds. This could be all over in any time now if they don't land these shells. Finally, Nervax does the job, but it's 1v2. He takes down another. He's in a 1v1 now. Eurofish up against Nervax. This is tense. He just about escapes, but still you guys round the back. It's a one-shot between them. Can he land this? Does he have the shells available? That is the question here. The Killzor and Vector doing what they can to hold these guys back. But still, the Dead Zone's fallen. Vector's fallen. Now it's just a Killzor and Nervax to do the job against 4 other tanks, and the damage comes in to Killzor, takes down another. And Nervax kiting around Uralfish, playing it smart, just about getting away in time. And this is unbelievable stuff.
And just couldn't keep up with what was going on then. Both teams going backwards and forwards. The Killzor versus Yukai.
Look at this as well. Eurofish and Nervax will be facing off very soon. Yukai moving in towards Dekilzor. Dekilzor is on nothing. Surely going to go down now, but Nervax won that 1v1. So it's back down to a 2v2, but look at the HP here. And there we have it, another short fall. And there's a 2v1. Nervax left on 69 HP. He has nothing to work with. And 4 minutes and 54 seconds. It's not a lot of time. That's a long time, excuse me.
Well, it depends what TCM do at this point. So Yukai's going for the cross shot, as you can see. He wants to see if Nervax goes across. He hasn't, so you can see Yukai will start going forwards. He'll definitely go for the cap. Does on the left side, looking for that cross as well. Will Nervax go up towards that position? But it looks like Nervax is maybe not heading towards the hill. He's actually heading towards Durs a little bit. So good prediction play from TCM. Perfect positioning from them. Obviously, they can be a little bit more aggressive, but we can see a lot more than they can. So Nervax now down to 69 HP. He can get rammed by both Yukai and Durs. But it's all going to be about how much TCM can do this, how fast they can go forwards, and Durs in the perfect position.
Yeah, Durs is going to catch him out surely. Oh, but Nervax gets the first shell off here. This could be dangerous. Oh, he's taking him down. Brilliant play from Nervax. And now a 1v1 up against Yukai. Yukai knows where he is, however. And Nervax still on no HP, 69. But he's going to have to try and wait for that reload to become available as well. He's back in the hell away. Yukai, though, does have the option to get that cap started. 1 minute and 36 seconds. What can Nervax do here?
Nervax has basically got to get the shot. So if Yukai all has to do basically is hit a shot. 69 HP, 390 average damage from the BL9, 122mm. Hit that shot, and Nervax will go down. I have to say, Durs, that was some really pitiful play from him. I'm not sure why he was going so aggressive at the start there, why he was going down that road so quickly. He should have stopped, gone for the shot, instead of giving Nervax the second opportunity to make it, despite the fact that he got a little bit lucky with the RNG damage roll. Definitely Durs should have just crossed him off. That would allow Yukai to go on the flank and finish off Nervax, but instead going for the move, going for the aggressive positions. But Yukai has the perfect position, and he's got the perfect angle.
Let's see if he can make it count. Nervax is coming around that corner any second now. He must reset this. 44 seconds. Yukai denies it. And the first map will go to TCM. But I've got to say it, CPlay got very close there.
That was ridiculously close. That game was just back and forth. We had...
And Nervax got 4 kills.
Yeah.
4
insane
kills.
Really nice stuff from Nervax. We can have a quick glance over at the damage from this game. Nervax sitting up on top for CPlay, 2.3k damage. That's pulling your weight and a half. Top 4 TCM was 1.5k, but this is the consistency I was talking about before. Yep. Whereas CPlay always seems to have this one player which is very good. TCM, 1.5k from Durs, 1.5k from YZNE, 1.5k from Eurofish, 1.4k from Still Mojo, 1.4k from Yukai. You can see where I'm going with this. They're always doing the work, whereas Nervax is left on him to do the extraordinary, insane 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3 situation.
He pulled it off almost.
He was very close. The only thing that actually, won it for them, that was Yukai's decision, because he had 2. Most people would have sat up behind that church. Yukai stood up behind the wreck, and basically Nervax charged around that corner thinking that Yukai would be behind the church. He wasn't. The reaction time when Yukai was absolutely spot on. Twitch stuff and just managed to get the shot off, and 1-0 to TCM. Definitely deserved. Have to say though, CPlay were aggressive, which was definitely good. A little bit indecisive again. That's always been their problem. They were going back and forwards. 2 50-100s coming back. Ruster should have been a little bit more aggressive with Nervax there in the 50-100 and gone 2 versus 2, or just go for the cap either way. But at the end of the day, TCM could go back and forwards. They could concentrate their firepower on the various groups of CPlay and eventually take them all down.
No, I completely agree. I liked their start, those 3 tanks splitting up towards the cap, but then they did very little there, and I kind of expected there to be another level to it, and you can't obviously depend on someone like Nervax constantly getting those 1v3s or pulling off the insane sort of moments, but I was a little bit kind of left wanting a little bit more from them.
And I think they missed an opportunity. They were pretty much, I think it was 4 tanks heading up the 1-2-3 line. There was Yukai and Still Mojo in the 2 I3s. Both of them were spotted. Why didn't you just go 4 versus 2? Take them down, take one of them down, send 150-100 behind, and just do the damage. You've caught them out, you've been aggressive, you've done something which another team has done. Missing that opportunity once again, CPlay.
Yeah, no, I hope they look back over that and go, actually, there's an opportunity for us to be, adapting a little bit more. Let's change up this, opinion here, or change up this strategy. Certainly an option, because their execution when it came down to the 1v1s or the damage dealing was perfectly
They've
fine.
got the players.
They have the players. As we've constantly pointed out, they have at least one player every time stepping up to a extremely high standard. But if they got everyone on that level, you kind of rounded out the tactics to suit it, you could see a lot more well-rounded tactic. But still, next map we need to look at. Currently, TCM have the 1-0 lead, but it was a very close first map. Second map is going to be Ensk, so you can say it's fairly similar to Himmelsdorf in a way. It's still a city map in essence. Not normally played out just in that aspect. It's normally a little bit split between the green zone now. Who do you think this one favours, and what are we seeing from the tank lineups there?
TCM have been pretty extraordinary on Ensk, full stop. They are actually a pioneer. They were the first to really use that top third on Ensk, get the good positions. They were very good around the green zone, so it's going to be hard for CPlay to beat them on. I thought CPlay might have an advantage against TCM on Himmelsdorf, and they certainly need to win it to get the momentum. Tank lineups triple 1390, triple MX, triple IS3 third time lucky, double 5100, double tier 1 for TCM. Looks like Evil Panda Squad's set up coming out from CPlay. Triple 5100, double IS3, double tier 1. So CPlay looking like they want to be the more aggressive team. Personally, I actually like the triple 5100 lineup on this map now.
We'll see if it gets used as well as it was previously. I think that one on the last time we saw it on Ensk just a couple of moments ago. So certainly going to be interesting to see if it pays off again. And I want to kind of discuss what we've seen on this so far. I can't recall what I've seen CPlay pulling out on this one on Ensk. I'm hoping that we can see something special from them, but let's take in mind the aggressive start that we saw on Himmelsdorf. Is there a way they could replicate that here on Ensk?
Sure. Well, triple 5100, you basically need to find one target. Find one target and take it down as quickly as possible. Preferably another enemy's 5100. Because at the end of the day, the IS3 gets one shot off, then he has to wait 11 seconds. It doesn't actually do that much damage, the IS3. So get rid of the damage dealing tanks as quickly as possible, especially when it has low HP, low armor like that 5100. Obviously, if you're 2 5100 versus 3 5100, you're going to win very quickly with the 3 5100. So that's where the advantage lies for CPlay. And honestly, actually, I think they have a good chance on this one. As long as they haven't argued together too much and beat each other heads off after Himmelsdorf, I think they're going to have a good play, and they can be happy with Nervax's performance.
Yes.
Being very far down 1 versus 3 at one point, I think they can be pretty strong going into Ensk. Not a map that's easy to play. Looks easy, but certainly isn't.
Definitely not, and well, we can find out in a moment's time because we are ready to get underway in our second map, Ensk. So welcome into the second map. As we said, it's going to be Ensk, and in the north, it's TCM. Currently with a 1 map advantage against CPlay in the south in blue, trailing behind, but only slightly. We have to see what they can do here with that slightly more aggressive lineup. Can they put it to good use? What do you think they're going to go for from the very start here?
Well, TCM already looking like they want to head towards that city. Not something we have seen very lot from both these two teams, from any team actually. Maybe a little bit more aggression wanted from TCM Gaming. CPlay with the aggressive team on Himmelsdorf. If TCM can get far enough forward, they might actually catch CPlay on the cross going towards the green zone, which is what their tactic is. Pretty standard stuff from them from the south.
Yeah, it certainly is, and let's see if it actually pays off. And no shells connecting yet, and surprising to see TCM being the aggressive ones out of these two more than anything. Definitely expected it to be more of a CPlay move, but then again, you can't just go charging headfirst into every situation. You've got to find the right place to be aggressive and utilize it that way. So, Dead Zone Nervax to kills, or heading down the railroad, and they don't look like they're going to be stopping anytime soon. They look happy to push this one up. And who would come out better in this situation if, let's say, CPlay do push further down towards the cap here, or they go for the exchange through the middle? Who's got the advantage?
Well, about 30 seconds ago, it would have been CPlay because there were no tanks for TCM towards the cap. But still, Mojo is starting to rotate around. If he does get caught out, though, it could be dangerous stuff from TCM. But whether that's really possible, we're going to have to wait and see. It's always pretty funny for me to see TCM because, you know, we've got Still Mojo, the previous team captain of Krasnokruyo, Eurofish, the previous team captain of Spale. You know, 3 team captains in there. Worked on Himmelsdorf, you could see the coordination and the calls were on point. When that communication breaks down a little bit more, when you're not leading so far, we'll have to wait and see if that really does come into the equation. Still Mojo, though, plays it perfectly, spots out the CPlay push, also does some damage to dead zone.
Yeah, it looked like friendly fire almost then, dead zone.
Really?
Yeah, I'm near on certain that could have come from Nervax then, because Still Mojo would have needed some lightning reflexes otherwise, but dead zone does receive a shell nevertheless. He's down on 1056. Still Mojo remains unscathed, and it looks like it's a bit of a back away from the others. Nervax has now retracted back, maybe trying to force the hand from TCM, see if they'll fully commit to rotating towards that flag and make a move and make a mistake. But Rusta is in support up top as well, and at the moment both teams playing it fairly smart.
Yeah, that was good by TCM, actually point perfect, really predicting of what CPlay wants to do. Now you can see the play starting from TCM going forwards. Magas leading the charge, Eurofish in support in that 5100, looking for their opportunity to strike from behind, but they're really on the clock here because 4 versus 5, which is a situation happening up in the north for TCM Gaming. Even if they have that better positioning, it's going to be hard when it comes to the damage and the firepower and the armor, and obviously the HP comes into the equation as well. So CPlay could be at the advantage. I would say the advantage, despite the dead zone receiving a big shell there, friendly fire or not. And also the cap is an option for CPlay. So you got all these things on the cards. It's just about exploiting them. For TCM at the moment, though, they look like they want to slow the play down a little bit, look for an angle onto CPlay, maybe go for the, you know, they like this kind of rotating player, the one that's roaming, the one that's going forwards, looking for a good angle, getting some shots on, getting some damage down, and then have him scamper away, which is perfect play by Eurofish, perfect player to do the job. Obviously, he just has to make sure he doesn't get himself into an awkward position, doesn't get taken down from some good focus fire by CPlay.
Yeah, and I want to ask your opinion of Rusta there. You said that the advantage they had was the fact there would be a 5-on-4 up north, but actually Rusta's fallen back, so they brought it back to a 4v4. Is that CPlay being fairly comfortable with the players they have in that position to be able to challenge on an even level?
It's probably because Eurofish and Magas just haven't been spotted. They don't know what's up there. CPlay still thinks that the positioning suggests that they kind of between going back to their cap and going towards TCM's caps. Personally, I think they just need to rotate, you know, maybe look towards heading into the city, or obviously going to be very hard. Eurofish actually has to head up north again for them to be able to do that. So really the only option CPlay has is probably to send the tier 1 here, and then the rest of their tanks push onto Still Mojo. And it would be a good option for them right now, but obviously Rusta has to rotate back around. So the cap is still an option. Would be hard for them to execute. I don't think they would win via cap. They would probably have to win via the actual push through the actual damage.
Well, 5 minutes and 14 seconds left. There's a lot of time on the board here, let's be serious, and it looks like CPlay are getting ready to mount the attack, and I think it might be go time to Killzor. Has got himself quite far forward. He's going to be the IS-3 there, right to the spear front, and still Mojo's taking a bit of a pounding because Nervax and Dead Zone both letting shells fly this time, but he's still remaining fairly calm. He's down at 801. He's got to be careful here because no one can really support him. He's bouncing shells like a champion, but still, Dead Zone looking for more. We are seeing the counterplay towards the south finally kicking in. Can Rusta deal with it?
They have to be very careful now, TCM, on the back foot because of Still Mojo taking so much damage. Perfect positioning by CPlay. Took them a while to realize that they could do that. But Rusta, as you said, has to be able to deal with Eurofish.
Already he's taken 1 shell, but not a big chunk of damage. He's down at 1137, so still sitting fairly healthy. He does have backup now arriving, but look at the way they're splitting the attention here. Actually, this could mean real trouble. The Killzor could be caught out. If Sharthak had gone around and executed with the others, Sharthak is just there. Nice work from Sharthak, catching to Killzor on the way through, but still, It's all about this defensive play now. You're seeing the rest of CPlay falling back to more of a defensive position. And could they be caught out from this as well? Because Ruster here, he's trying to do the work, which is absolutely fine, but they're leaving a bit of a gaping hole behind them that could really allow Sharthak, Still Mojo, and Yukai to come around the back.
Your officials get caught out there in a little bad position. That's what CPlay wanted to do, find the weak link, but luckily Derzichner is in the right position to deal with it, responds with a shell of his own onto Nervak, second shell onto the Killzor. Looks like TCM have the right positions, but they need to get their tanks back down from the north.
Let's see if they can do it in time, because everyone else from CPlay is now here. You can hear those shells coming through, and Killzor is in trouble. He could fall any second now. One more shell and he is gone, down to 25 HP. Well, another shell coming in, does not land the way they wanted, and you are seeing the swift move across, down the south, across towards the west. They found Eurofish, and they want to punish him. He's that weak link you were talking about, and let's see if they can break that chain as Vector, dancing with it, toying with the idea of going forward. Obviously, a lot more damage can come in. They don't want to rush this one, but there we go, finally goes down. But still, whose boat would you rather be in at the moment? CPlay taking a lot of damage, but taking down the biggest tank first.
Yeah, Eurofish out of position. Good play there by CPlay. Magus, though, has to try and spot out, keep as many of them spotted as they can. Sharthak in the right position, and TCM not leading in terms of tanks, but leading in terms of HP. They just need to make sure that they engage onto the right pivot of CPlay, on the pivot of Nervax or Ruster, who've taken a few shells.
Yeah, so Ruster took a couple of flecks of damage, but now Magus gone. They have some free reign to stay alive, but what will they do with their options now? They have a couple here. Obviously, CPlay are quite low HP-wise, but then again, Eurofish is down. The tier 1s towards the north, keeping eyes on as best they can. Still Mojo and Devil there, but a couple of shots cut out from Dead Zone. He's going to pick on Sharthak. Bit of an interesting opponent when you guys there to support. Not sold on this one, guys. But then again, they're still going for it. Ruster going in. Vector and Killzor splitting around the side. This could be the better move. Here we go. Fire coming in now. Ruster is low. He is in trouble. Vector coming around the side. Oh, but there's Killzor down and out. That was a matter of time, though. 25 HP was all he was left with. And now Vector, Nervax, Dead Zone, and Ruster have to weigh up the options. Nervax is surely going to fall. One more shell. Yukai is low as well. Oh, the shell bounced. Can they take down Yukai? Yes, they can. Nervax just about staying alive, holding his nerve. And now it's going to come down to these last couple of tanks. Still Mojo is in trouble. He's low, as is Durs. And Sharthak not all sitting that pretty now.
No, certainly not. Still Mojo's got to play this perfectly. Will he be able to get into support of Sharthak in time? If he can, he might be able to take down Victor.
Let's see, Victor is going for the aggression. He's going to try and single out Sharthak, but fire coming in from Still Mojo, but Sharthak has to fight back against two. Vector in cover, Dead Zone not. This could be an interesting target, interesting choices being made, but Sharthak is a couple more shells away. Finally take him down, but look at the HP of CPlay. All of them can fall, but these choices they're going to make will define the outcome of this game as one now goes down. The Dead Zone gets removed, leaving it in a, well, it's a 2v2, 2v3, but Ruster and Nervax are one-shots.
I'd be nervous if I was Nervax because he is down to 28 HP. Still Mojo misses this shot though, so he gets away with that one just by the skin of his teeth. 37 seconds left on the clock. Devil in good position to draw this one out. It's all about what Ruster can do if he can find his way onto these two. I don't think he can. TCM are still ahead.
TCM certainly are. I think this will end the way you just said, but such a close game here. Unbelievably so. Nervax moving across here. Smart play from him, backing away a little. He is left on literally nothing. 28 HP. I don't think he can get caught out much, but we are seeing the final push in from TCM. They have to pull off something pretty much magical here, but Vector still doing the work. He's very much alive and kicking. Takes one towards Durs, but 2 seconds left. I do believe that this will be a draw out between TCM and CPlay, but another brilliantly played out game and a very close one at that.
That was so close. I think actually CPlay was a better team on that one, I have to say.
I agree. Some
great play by Sharthak in the IS3. Really good to see that he's back playing and at the top of his game, because when he is, he's just fantastic. He was actually the player to beat Red Tide. I think it was Red Tide, that's what they were called back in Season 1, and give them that 4th place. But yeah, generally I think for TCM, they kind of hung on. I think they could have actually won that towards the end of the game, but CPlay were the better team at the beginning. The basic problem was because they took so much damage from the cross shots in the IS3. If they didn't take so much damage, they would have certainly been able to win. Durs being out of position and Still Mojo, and Devil and Magus trying to deal with the tier 1s, it took too long for them to deal with them. and those two combat tanks not being able to support Sharthak and Yukai was a huge disadvantage. It means that they couldn't push forwards and they couldn't finish off CPlay, which obviously was a possibility. So both teams playing a little bit substandard. I wasn't impressed with either, although I think CPlay could have won that.
No, I think I'm there with you. I think the initial starts were a little bit weak from both. There was no like big tactic that I thought, okay, that's really impressive. I didn't quite get that. But then the way they dealt with it afterwards, the reactive play was, I think, fairly impressive from both in essence. You know, TCM, maybe not to my standards playing the game I think they can do. I think they're a little bit weaker than normal. No, I didn't see the brilliance there, but I think CPlay did quite well considering, you know, they're a team that are just coming into this. So you had some great standout players once again, but still, we need to see a little bit more from them to close out these games, because that's the important factor, is being able to actually close them out. And well, next map will be Steps. Bit of a difference from the last two city maps coming into an open one now. Who's got the advantage here? Who's got that better play style?
I think Steps is being a little bit more about TCM's gameplay. I think they can be a little bit more confident on it. We've seen CPlay though struggle a lot on city maps. Maybe their strength lies with the open maps, but I think in general the reason why CPlay is struggling is because they are a new team at the end of the day. They've got the players there. They just need to build the synergy and build the decision making, which is what they've been lacking. They haven't been decisive. They've been doing well on Go 4 Cups, and for instance, but it's been the real big, you know, the Gold Series where they've been struggling, and maybe their strength lies in the open map Steps and Prokhorovka. CPlay, TCM, not bad at them though. That's the thing. They are certainly not bad. Not with the likes of Eurofish in the lineup, who's really good in the AMX 1390, but they did lose on Prokhorovka against Lucky Cracky in the previous matchup, so certainly CPlay can do some damage here.
It has been down to minimum amounts of HP between these two so far. I've got to say it, and no matter what the ending scoreline is, CPlay are certainly a very good team, but they have very much had very hard opponents from the absolute offset of this, and TCM is very true to that as well. I'm hoping we can see, you know, CPlay picking up a victory soon, because at the moment, you know, I think TCM are outplaying them slightly, but not by much. You know, I look at Himmelsdorf, it came down to maybe a lack of slight execution from CPlay, but at least they tried, you know, the aggression. I look at Ensk, once again they tried it, didn't really pay off to that smooth capability with that initial push down the railroad lines. Didn't really come off, but they, you know, at the end of it they dealt with it very well. Their actual 1v1 ability is pretty much spot on, but still, I think we are just seeing the tank picks coming in, and I'm hoping we'll see a bit of a result coming out for CPlay very soon, because they're probably the team that showed me the most potential out of everyone. But what are we seeing so far?
So, double T69, AMX 1390, T32, and last but not least, the IS3 by CPlay. We've seen the IS3 being picked up by School Bus against, I believe, Lucky Cracky. They lost that because of the push from Lucky Cracky into the cap. Whether they're going to do, CPlay is going to make the same mistake, the IS3 being very slow, and obviously the T32 being just as slow or even slower, a little bit better horsepower per ton ratio, but generally those two tanks can't react to situations very much. Maybe CPlay going for the draw here, but it's going to be hard either way because of the turret traverse and the IS3 very slow indeed. Obviously TCM not going to go for that. They're going to go for the standard lineup, triple MX 1390, double T69, double T1. So TCM lucky that they didn't pick triple T69, so they can at least counter the IS3. Triple MX 1390's got enough damage to take down an IS3, but you do need two of them unless you get lucky with the damage rolls. And the T32, obviously you need two of them as well. So in the engagement, TCM are definitely going to be on the back foot, and CPlay certainly will be able to do more damage. But you know, with those triple MX 1390s, it's all going to be about spotting, information, positioning. And if CPlay don't be careful, they're going to find themselves outflanked, outmaneuvered, and probably even outcapped.
It's a definite possibility, and I'm still not sold by the IS3. I think that actually might be switched out, as you said. No, it is still there. Not sold on it so far. Not quite seen it in any position in open maps. I actually saw TCM using, I think, on Cliff before as well. And still wasn't sold on that
double.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? God, I'm not sold yet, but guys, we'll see how that comes into play for CPlay here, because we are ready to get underway into Steps. So, welcome into Steps. This will be our third battle between these two. TCM in the south, in the north it's CPlay in blue, and well, at the moment it's TCM leading one map to the good, but I assure you this has been a very close game. But what sort of beginning are we seeing from these both?
TCM have been pretty Steps, and Ensk have been their two best maps in this season so far. Eurofish, YZNE, DJ Red Deep, and it looks like Still Mojo in the back, heading up towards the E1, E2 area. Standard start from them at the beginning, obviously Yukai keeping everything safe in the middle. And obviously CPlay doing pretty much the same as we would expect towards the trench with an aggressive movement, getting spotted out by Der Zichner in the AMX 1390. So standard start from both these two teams. Obviously, CPlay have that position. They like their position in games. Ruster heading up into C0. They won against Virtus Pro. Well, they came very close to winning against Virtus Pro with this tactic. They just failed to execute and failed to push forwards. Once again, a little bit tentative in their movements. Certainly been their downfall so far. Execution and general ability to make the correct calls. I'll have to wait and see if that happens on this one. But Eurofish heading forward, standard start from both teams.
Yeah, and well, 8 minutes and 50 seconds left on the board. There's no room to rush, no reason to hasten right now as Dead Zone and Dr. Tour keep eyes on their flag, and it's not a bad call. TCM are fairly pushed up actually, not sitting back in this one too far. Still, I'm gonna ask you a question actually, because I don't actually know what this is. What is that logo?
Switch over to that's to stop you getting ammo racked.
Actually, never seen anyone running with that till now.
I believe, obviously it's not something I run with at all on any of my tanks, but it's because he's hull down and the ammo rack for an auto-loading tank is in the turrets behind it. That's why auto-loading tanks are the lightest tanks. The AMX 75 comes to mind, AMX 50B comes to mind. So if you get shot in the turret pretty much anywhere, you're going to get ammo racked. And the T69 doesn't have a strong turret, so it can get penetrated there. So if you use that the water, and I think it's called like, I don't know, it's basically like wet towels around the ammo to stop it being penetrated, stop it setting on fire, and it will pretty much reduce it by a certain percentage. So smart stuff from these. You know, these teams do a lot of theory crafting. If you notice on every single one of these players, they're all going to be pretty much using all the aggressive players are always going to be using coated optics, gives you 10% view range, counteracts a little bit of the camo of the other teams, and it brings it back to about the 400, 350 meter mark.
Interesting choices being made, but actually, with all that in mind, no shots actually landing just yet. But whose start do we like more here? Because it's very kind of similar across the board from a normal steps, let's say. Is there anyone in the position to make a move yet, or is it still pretty much just as is?
It's pretty much like we saw on the previous matchup in LCK and EPS. Tentative start, both teams trying to find a way in. Dr. Tour just gets taken down there for CPlay, so TCM a little bit on the advantage, a little bit forwards now, but you know it's steps, so you know the T1 doesn't make a big difference compared to something like Himmelsdorf or even Ensk, for instance. So it won't make a big difference as CPlay, and hopefully they won't lose it because of that mistake by Dr. Tor, or at least him trying to find some information. Not necessarily a mistake, but yeah, you're talking about, you know, how can these two teams find their way in? They can't really. Well, TCM can't engage onto CPlay right now because of the Killzor and Hacky in the T32 and the IS3. Going to be very hard for them to do the damage, and you can see on the minimap how spread out TCM is. They're pretty much going to go for the draw, make sure they have every single corner, every single angle with just tanks spotting onto it to make sure that CPlay isn't going to go for something. And Ruster is pretty aggressive at AMX 1390.
It certainly is, and happy to roam. Clearly confident enough, been a great player throughout for CPlay, certainly stepping up over the last couple of games, being a bit of a stand-up player to us. And at the moment he's backing away a little, back towards maybe the rest of his team, maybe not feeling like he wants to be out on a limb the whole time, but you know, it's the joy of the 1390. You do get a little bit of that roaming ability to be a little bit faster than most and get around, but then again, he's up against 3 other 1390s, so you don't want to be obviously overestimating your capabilities here, so just being a little bit more careful, kind of retracting back a little. But still, has TCM made any sort of concerted move here? Because you said that they can't really make an impact. What are their options now?
They're trying to find Trevor's in that tier 1, but take both of them out. Maybe a little bit more breathing room for them because they don't have to worry about the cap, don't have to worry about the tier 1 trying to find them.
Well, I do recall that TCM were very happy to go for caps, even on the open map. We saw it on Prokhorovka, we've seen it on here before. I don't feel it's an option against CPlay, however, because they're so aggressive at times. Do you think that might be a late game plan for these guys, or is that off the cards?
It certainly could be a late game plan. There's no reason why they shouldn't. Ruster does try to find his way up in towards where Treves is. Whether he can get there without taking any damage, another question. Nope, he doesn't. He gets a couple of shells, both from the tier 69s, on to the back of him there, taking him down to about 60%. YZNE as well. If Ruster had been a little bit out of line, he would have been able to get some shots on there. So still Mojo, even Eurofish there doing some good damage. Whether it's going to be anything in terms of follow-up from TCM Gaming is another question. But certainly TCM now in the front foot with Dr. Toy down, with that damage done onto Ruster.
Well, see if Ruster can get anything out of this. He's toying with them, taking down the trees and backing away, but at the moment, just bear in mind, Ruster was out on a limb quite some time during this game. He's now up there with Treves, should I say, but not much more fire. He can sit there fairly safely away from the T69s, but it looks like we've seen a bit of a counter push across from CPlay down, well, up towards the north here.
Yeah, Neurofish hasn't actually spotted the kills or Nervax. This is the main firepower from CPlay coming onto TCM. Neurofish has to make sure he's careful, but because it is the slow tanks, the IS-3, the T-32 and the T-69, he will be able to scamp out of there very quickly once they get spotted.
Let's see if he does, though. Not yet spotted. The dead zone did get spotted, but that's about it. Still not the same. I think he knows there's something moving towards him. He's trying to back out of this, and you can see the tier 1s are falling here, but Nervax now in a way better position, and Dekilzo actually just to his left. Hacky there as well. They've spotted out Eurofish, and the fire's coming in, but he's just about scampered away. But oh, he gets tracked. He gets held. He needs to be careful, as now Nervax is pushing in from the side. He's not going to stop anytime soon. He knows these guys are out on a limb. Those T69s showed up when they put fire down towards Ruster, and they might be making a move towards him. Oh, nice work from Nervax again, catching Eurofish on that cross. But still, where's the rest of us? Where's the late game play? They need to be thinking about every option here. Ruster actually backed away from those hills and gets himself into a way safer position, but I like the work from CPlay there.
Yeah, but they're going to be very slow with those IS-3 and the T-32. That is the problem for CPlay right now. They can do good work against the likes of the AMX 3090s when they actually find the engagement, but you can see how quickly TCM can just rotate around. They can get themselves in the trench, and they can basically just reset the fight completely. Even when you see Dekilzo and Hacky in the heavy tanks trying to cross them out in the middle, it does not matter. The AMX 3090 is going about 55 to 65 kilometers an hour. The T-32, you're going about 30 if you're lucky. In the IS-3, 35, 40 if you're lucky. So you're going double the speed, you can get double the distance.
Yeah, and Ruster out on a limb here. He cut them off even further. Being smart, but he's also out on a limb, so he needs to be a little careful. But the entirety of TCM now ahead. I'm wondering if the other squad members of CPlay can come around and support, but they're quite spread out, actually, surprisingly for CPlay. Dead zone quite far back. Nervax as well on the other side there. And we are seeing them now coming round towards the other flag, and they are doing the work here. They are getting across, but 1 minute and 35 seconds, I don't think that's enough time to do much.
It certainly isn't. Just depends really what happens. Does CPlay actually go for the cap? They are right next to it. They will have time to cap if they manage to do that, but they do need to take Devil down, who's in a perfect position. That is the only place CPlay can do the cap, and for TCM it's the same.
Well, Ruster still toying around with them. Duz is on his heels, but Ruster does manage to get away this time. And there we go. So the cap has started, but it's TCM beginning this one. Dead Zone and Nervax coming back in those T69s, trying to make sure this one doesn't go through, because there's a good couple of tanks in there now, and they could really cause some trouble.
Yukai and DJ Red Deep are going to have to try and do as much damage here.
Yeah, and they're around the back. They could catch these guys out. Hacky takes 2, but a lot of HP on that tank. He's down to 883. He manages to stay alive just about to get his turret around, but I think it's too little too late almost. He's going to be caught out, taken down, and in real pain if he went along the same way. But DJ Red Deep and Yukai backing away now. They've thwarted the attack. They've stopped it in its tracks, and actually TCM stopped the cap as well. So no harm, no foul almost.
TCM couldn't risk taking a lot of damage. They couldn't risk taking a lot of HP from them, but they are going to try and do some damage onto CPlay. 22 seconds left on the clock. TCM not capping does mean TCM won't be able to win, but also CPlay won't be able to win either.
Yeah, pretty much evening that playing field. And these shots, they look great, but they're probably going to do very little with 9 seconds left. Durs there just peers up, lets one fly. Nervax gets one back, but I've got to say overall, whose plan really worked out better then? Because I've got to give credit to CPlay. They were the ones to make the first move almost. You know, they had the polarizing sides. As you said, however, TCM were not in a position to be able to make a move, so it was made in the end by CPlay. But the cat and mouse game then begun, and it was who was out-rotating who was cutting off who. And it ended up in a very weird predicament with, it was Yukai and DJ Deep, as you mentioned, behind them as they're going towards their flag. Was that a smart play from TCM being able to split them up like that, or was that just a little bit of luck?
It was perfect by TCM. They, with the speed and the versatility of the T69 and the MX-1390, TCM could be both defensive and offensive at the same time. Whereas really CPlay had to make the move. Do they play it defensively or do they play offensively? That's a very big decision. That's the biggest decision you can make as a team. And once again, we're seeing those heavy tanks not pay off. One is fair enough. The T32, you play it over towards the trench side if you want to draw it out. But CPlay is one map down. They want to be offensive. They need to take the win.
They do
Don't
now.
play with the T32 in the IS3. But that's the problem with these blind picks. You have to send your lineups before the map. That could be a disadvantage, but obviously it's only before the map, so you know what the score line is. You know what the score line is. You know how many you've won and how much you need to get back, so you can still make dynamic choices at the end of the day. So CPlay, I think they would have done a lot better if they picked the triple MX-1390 double T69. Once again, it's all about the map, the tank pips.
Yep, most definitely, and we will be going into the next one. Well, coming up, it'll be Ruinberg. So, what are your thoughts towards this? We've seen an aggressive CPlay so far. Haven't seen much aggression from TCM this time, but we know they can play it if they want to. They have capable players to pull it off. Tank choice-wise, you know, map-wise, what should their plan be coming into this one?
So,
from both teams.
CPlay have been actually pretty impressive on Ruinberg. I think a mixture, you know, a couple of IS3s, a couple of 5100s, and MX-1390 won't go amiss.
Yeah.
I think it would be a little bit better if they go for the double MX-5100 double IS3 T69. I think that's their best bet to win it. TCM have been the more heavy team. They've gone with the double IS3 double 5100 MX-1390. Lost against Lucky Cracky because of the cap, but certainly a good lineup. They beat Drooling Leprechauns before with it. So it definitely works. It's just about pushing at the right time. It's not a big enough map, 800 by 800 meters, for you not to be able to traverse, unlike steps with 1,000 meters.
Yes.
So you can still get from point A to point B very, very quickly. But it does look like CPlay have gone. We're just waiting for Dead Zone, who usually picks an IS3, a little bit more of a heavy tank player. I think Nervax is going to pick T69. So for CPlay, my bet is a IS3 5100 MX-1390 T69, and then another IS3.
So then, with that in mind, who's going to get the victory on this one? Because CPlay do need a victory pretty damn fast if they actually want to win. Yeah, so if they want to win overall, they have to go for the win on this one. Is this a map you think they could do it on, or is it too much of a TCM map that they can actually make it den?
See, I don't think TCM is all that good. I think CPlay might even be a little bit better on this one. So, you know, I think this is a good bet for them to take the win on. Next map after this will be Cliff. Actually could be a good play for them to go for the win there. But that will only bring it to a draw. That'll be a point apiece, which is not really what you want. You get triple if you take the win. So CPlay, perhaps this is good for them. Ruinberg is a stronger map for CPlay in my opinion. Cliff is a stronger map for CPlay in my opinion. So far the map pick's going into their favor a little bit.
If they wanted to turn it here.
Could be pretty dangerous, exactly. They need to be a little bit more clever. I think this could be won and lost on a cap for CPlay.
Well, let's find out. Those tank picks are coming through, and as you said, they made a big impact on that previous matchup, the previous map. But then again, Steps allows for a lot of variation. A lot of different lineups can be very polarizing towards a result, especially if you have a counterplay just flat out against you, which can happen. But right now we are seeing them coming through. I don't think there's anything too surprising just yet, and I don't think we'll have any big surprises here. It's more, how do they come into this with what sort of flavor to the lineup almost do they go for, and what do you think we're seeing so far from these guys?
So for CPlay, triple 5100 IS3 MX-1390 double T1, that's an incredibly powerful lineup. That's saying, look guys, we want to do insane damage like we see on Himmelsdorf. Whether TCM has enough HP to deal with that AMX-5100, triple AMX-5100 lineup, that's going to be the real question here. But for CPlay, at least they've got a good mixture. The 5100s are quick enough on a map that's not that big to be able to be offensive and also react a little bit with the defensive play. The MX 3090 played by Ruster, the perfect guy for the job, really. He can play both roles very well, and the Killzor, last but not least, probably going to be playing a T69 or an IS3, just providing T69 with the firepower, the burst damage, and IS3 with a more, sustain in terms of just being able to live throughout a firefight very easily. And for TCM, it's going to be double 5100 IS3 ×2 MX 3090 T1. So again, just a more staple play from TCM. We've seen them before, a little bit more reliable. They've won with it. But De Kilzo actually picking up a 4th AMX 5100. So what I said about CPlay wanting to have that real firepower, that's just increased tenfold.
Pretty much. A little bit of an all-in, a little bit dangerous, but it seems that they want to go for the win, is what I'm reading into this. They don't want that draw overall. They want to try and pick up the win here, and then do the same on the final map if it gets to it, pretty much. So, do or die now for these guys. If TCM win this one out, they are in severe trouble. And they can't really turn it around because they already have that one map advantage. So this is the moment CPlay have to really show us what they're made of. We've been saying they've been the most, the side with the biggest amount of potential. Now they have to prove it. So guys, let's get ready for Ruinberg. We're not Ruinberg, we lied to you. Basically, the teams did something wrong. Blame to Killzor. We'll jump into game in just a second's time. It's all his fault. He can handle a gigantic tank, but pressing start in a game...
Too hard.
It's difficult. It's very difficult.
He's got a name like the Killzor, so, you got
there's something going wrong
Got to give him a little bit of...
Alright, we can hop in game, so we can just throw up on your screens. No fancy intro. You had that just to look at us. But obviously the countdown is getting underway. Just chill out looking at us then.
Yeah, I got 21 seconds till the battle starts.
I like looking at the game though. That's where I want to be. There we go. Nailed it. So, anyway. Blame to Killzor. But anyway, let's give you a recap as to what's happening if you are just walking into this. Currently, best of 5. One map in favour to TCM, the others were draws, but extraordinarily close games. And it'll be TCM starting in the red in the south, and the north in blue. It's CPlay. Now, if CPlay want to win this overall, they must win this game. Otherwise, they are pretty much screwed. So, what are they doing so far?
So, they're expecting TCM to do what they've done every single time, which is push along the crescent moon. So they're kind of positioning for that push. But what they should have actually done, instead of going up towards A0, is push down and towards the city. They have the 45100s. That's a lot of damage right there. And they would just be able to blow away TCM if it came to a one-on-one engagement, especially if they get the focus fire correct. But it looks like CPlay, they want the higher ground, they want that village, and they want to come down from the top onto TCM, maybe even looking for that cap I was talking about.
Let's see, this is a aggressive side wanting the victory here. Nervax to Killzor, Ruster, all getting into position. Those 5100s, those big old French tanks doing the job. Hacky and Dead Zone following up, playing a little bit more defensive, just in case. You've got to hedge your bets these days, and Ruster leading the way, no real surprise there. That guy is a bit of a beast in that 1390, certainly impressing us so far, but a lot of work on their hands. And I think this is TCM knowing what they're in for now. They know that, well, it's going to be CPlay wanting the victory, so let's dig in deep and just play this smart.
Exactly. They're playing a little bit like it's a random battle. Like, this is, in terms of the heat maps, if you look on Ruinberg, for instance, vbaddict.net, you can see all the heat maps for the various maps in the game. This is where you sit. A tank back here, a couple of tanks here, a couple of tanks behind the church. And there's obviously a good reason for that. It's a good place to start from. CPlay kind of roaming around, looking for the higher ground, trying to get some shots out, maybe take down a little bit of shrubbage, if that's a word.
Shrubbery.
Shrubbery, that's the one. A bit of shrubbery, a bit of cover, and then maybe they can push on in towards that cap, send the tier 1s first. But they need to get the timing right. Basically, TCM needs to push forwards, be aggressive, then CPlay pushes their tanks in the cap. TCM will be too slow on the rotate with the double IS3s, and maybe they'll be able to win it that way. But, if I was TCM right now, I would be a little bit worried. I would be saying to myself, let's just not get into an engagement. Let's just not fight as much as we can. But at the same time, one map is not good enough. They would really like to win this one. because they know they're a little bit weak on Cliff. They know CPlay perhaps have been the stronger team on that map, so they know they need to. Ruinberg is the one they need to be able to take it on, but still, you know, we said before, TCM not such a good team on both these maps, so just about holding on for them.
And I love how confident Ruster is, though. He really is happy to move around the map. He is very happy to get, you know, up close and personal if he has to. But he's also being quite risky, let's bear in mind, because it is all hinged on this. If CPlay walk away with a loss here and TCM get the victory, it's game over. They can't actually do anything. And look how far forward he's going. He's so happy being out on a limb, just on his own, you know, doing his own thing pretty much. He's very close to Magus, who probably could spot him out pretty damn quickly if he's not careful, and there's no direct backup. But Trevor's a tier 1, and then Nervax and Dekills further back. That's not the support you want there. So he's out on a limb, but they're certainly working out where the opponents are and where they're not.
That's exactly the point. He's trying to find information as anything else. Does he get spotted? If he gets spotted, he knows that there's either tier 1 very close, or there's an AMX 3090 or whatever high tier tanks very reasonably close.
Yeah.
And Eurofish just receive a couple of shells, don't actually connect, hitting the hull down position there, so he can't actually reverse, get out of there. But that was good probing play by CPlay there, finding a little bit of information and maybe coming out with a different strategy. Looks like they're actually heading up north, maybe rotating back around in the city like I said at the beginning. I think that is their best bet. They need to make sure they don't actually get found out on the rotate, which doesn't look like they are, as TCM aren't willing to move, they aren't willing to make a play here.
And the thing is that time's also running out for CPlay. They've got 5 minutes left. It's a long old rotate up the right side across the top. It's not exactly a short distance, even though it is a smaller map. You've still got a little bit of ground to traverse there. So Nervax is heading down those 5100s. And as we said, once CPlay manage to get the numbers against anyone in TCM, they can take them down so damn quickly. But it's a dangerous time to do it in. And what's the time limit, do you feel, for CPlay to be able to do something here?
Pretty okay, actually. 2.5 minutes, 2-minute mark, okay. Because TCM Gaming, it's not a map where you can really run. You can see the tier 1s set up for CPlay up in the north and in the south. Then TCM, if they run the tier 1s up there, they'll just get caught out by those tier 1s. And also, generally, TCM's tier 1s are really consolidated towards their cap, towards their heavy tanks, actually playing quite an offensive role, a spotting role. Certainly going to be hard for them to draw this one out. CPlay are going to go for the push into the cap. Again, the name of the game here is to be unspotted for as long as possible. That is where they're doing it correctly, because Devil is slightly out of position. He needs to rotate and get back around on the spot.
Well, he could be in trouble very quickly, as there is a 4-man hit squad coming around that corner. He will actually manage to put out Dekills, which should send a little bit of a alarm bell ringing into the rest of TCM to go, guys, this might be their move, this might be their end game plan, but you don't get to see them fully committing here. Tevez moving around, Dr. Tour there, Ruster as well, looking for the rotate. Not spotting anyone out though, so what's the best route of attack here for CPlay now?
Just carry on going forwards. Yeah, you're going to get to receive a face full of damage when you turn that corner. Send, I don't know, Ruster first in the MX 3090, send another tank in it, you know, which doesn't really need to receive a lot of damage, and then just collapse onto those IS-3s and just unleash the SA-47, and you really won't have any reply. But again, it's about finding the angle, and that's where their problem is going to come. Dekills or Nervax doing a great job, and CPlay do look like they're on the offensive, and they are actually getting themselves into the best position they can to engage onto this one. My question is, how is Ruster going to be able to find his way around? Because he is so far ahead in those AMX 5100, it could be a tricky situation for him.
It certainly could be. Let's keep eyes on this. Bit of an overview of what's happening. Hacky and Nervax have now been spotted out. Sharthak, still Mojo, Magus very close by. They now know fairly well where the opponents are. It's all very tense right here. 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Nervax and Hacky, as we mentioned, getting a good spot. Devil still out on a limb, somehow staying alive there. And Dekills or Dr. Tour and the Dead Zone a little bit further back. But CPlay trying to find the best time to engage, I feel. Trying to play this out perfectly. And do you think TCM are worried right now?
Yeah, they are worried. And also overlooking something slightly, Eurofish is actually out. And if TCM don't react to this push quick enough, CPlay could go in a 5 versus 4 situation, which would be disastrous. And TCM are very aware of the mistake they made against Lucky Cracky, which wasn't to commit enough combat tanks towards their cap to stop the cap from the other team. So You know, all these things are dying through the mines. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. TCM are definitely going to be on the defensive if CPlay do move. I don't think they are going to push forwards. They're not going to be the offensive team here, and CPlay certainly are. They're just waiting for their time to go, and I think that's going to be around the 2-minute mark.
Well, this is an interesting move from Ruster as well. In that 1390, we questioned his, well, where he's going to be within this fight, and he's actually very much out on his own within the green area, really. Maybe going around the back, maybe to try and catch him out, maybe to cause a little bit of surprise factor. 2 minutes now left. The clock will start being a big factor into this one. We are seeing a little bit of movement now coming up from the Killzor and the dead zone, starting to edge forward. Vax and Hacky as well doing the same. We are seeing a little bit of fire coming through here. Let's see if they fully commit. It looks like they're just about to do so. Ruster is around the backside. He's the one doing the damage. They pinch it in too. This could be a brilliant start, but can they follow through? Hacky now moving into position. Good couple of shells are connecting. Sharthak is in trouble. One more shell and he is down. Surely gonna fall. He is still Mojo trying to back away. But now Nervax does have Eurofish on his heels, but nice cover coming from Killzor. But this is going blow for blow here. Hacky has singled out still Mojo. Surely going to take him down. He does so, but does just about landing these shells, doing the job he needs to. But there's the secondary plans kicking into gear. That cap is underway.
What is the reloads like on the CPlay side? It's only their dead zone and Ruster left, and the two auto-loading tanks, the AMX 3090 and the AMX 5100 left. And YZNE, I think he's on reload, as is Durs. So all these tanks are now reloading. Cappy is not being started for these two teams. TCM needs to hang on.
TCM hanging on by a thread. Nice work from Ruster from the side. Dead Zone now has a beautiful shot for him, but I don't think he's really reloaded either. He's not able to land these shots. Devil's there. YZNE is there. Durs is in trouble. He's going to try and back away again. Brilliant work from Ruster, but Dead Zone needs to make sure once he gets reload available, he's going to land these shots because Ruster can only do so much. 30 seconds now left. It's a 2v4, but the numbers are drastically in favor of TCM, but now Ruster left with a world of trouble. He's got YZNE low. He's on fire. YZNE could go down here. Ruster might win this one out, maybe. Couple more shells, one more, maybe two. Dr. Tool's coming around. Can Ruster hold on? Can he pull it off? 10 seconds left. Tevez, Dr. Tool all there. And well, this is going to come down to the final seconds. Can Ruster do the job? Can they pull this off? If they manage to take him down, 1 second left, it's not going to be enough time. And it will be drawn out.
I mean, you've got to feel sorry for CPlay then. I mean, how close was that, guys? That was just down to the wire. And really, why wasn't Dr. Toil more aggressive in the tier 1? That would have done it if Dr. Toil was on the side. But, you know, 10 more seconds and it would have been okay. Because YZNE missed that last shot onto the tier 1, he was, you know, that was his sixth shell.
3k
he
damage.
did 3.1k damage. That is insane. That's two reloads from the MX 5100. So
can't give him too much grief on that, but still, it was sloppy at the end of that one. I've got
to say as well, Eurofish actually did kind of screw up a little bit. He was very aggressive. But, you know, again, it's those reloads. The 4 MX 5100s, they just on reload and off reload and on reload. And, you know, it comes between that juggle of which team has got the best reloads. YZNE had the best place and the best reloads for the time, so he could do so much damage and counteract some great play by CPlay. But I just say, well, once again, CPlay being the better team, just not having the time. I think they should also pick the T69 and not AMX 1390 because of that reload difference.
Then again, Ruster did play well, but as you said, if he was in maybe a tank that could facilitate that play a little more, it could have done a little bit better. I've got to say to him, though,
he did 2.1k in the lowest tank there.
Yeah, I think if he was maybe in a tank that facilitated it, as I said, you know, in a little bit of a better way, maybe he could have been even more impactful. But still, he did do very well. The split round the side kind of broke it open. Very much enjoyed that, but still, we have to start looking towards the final map. And this is basically now CPlay having to walk away with what they can rather than the victory. They didn't pick up the win here. The only thing they can do now in the ideal situation is draw by picking up this game as a complete victory. Whereas TCM can still win this if it does get drawn out or if they win, obviously. So there's still a lot more options with TCM. They have 2-1, basically, if you want to look at it that way. And the final map being Cliff. I think it's a map that can be drawn out quite well. I think the TCM could do it if they had to, if they really want to play for the victory in a 2-0 sense rather than the 1-0. Could definitely do it, but CPlay, do you think there's any chance this could be drawn out for them, or have they just kind of lost their nerve in that final game?
I think CPlay is a better team on Cliff, to be honest. I think I feel like kind of sorry for CPlay because they have been a very aggressive and strong CPlay. We haven't seen that before. Unlike they've been a lot of defensive against Virtus Pro and School Bus, but here they look confident. They just it's 5% they need, but they are certainly got their bets hedged on Cliff, which is I think a good plan from them. They just need to get the execution right. They can feel most comfortable in this map though, so it's all going to be down to this T69s as it always is on Cliff. Jones picking up that one, and obviously Ruster, the AMX 3090 Supreme player, is going to be really key and instrumental, as he always is. I mean, you've got to really give it to Ruster. The rest of his team is kind of sitting down in terms of damage on our overall leaderboards. Indeed. But Ruster is just there. If there was 7 Rusters in CPlay, it would be
see you at
it
the
would
top.
be like Na'Vi kind of,
Pretty much.
I think
the kid's a bit of a beast.
But then again, new multi-show is always at the top of the damage, and it doesn't mean Evil Panda Squad's always good. You need those team players.
I agree, but then again, the way Ruster played in the last map wasn't for the big damaging role that didn't have importance. So, one of the first players that I ever really respected as someone in esports, gave me this lesson that not all damage is worthwhile damage. Some of it's completely useless because it doesn't give you the win in the end. But what Ruster did, even if he didn't get that high amount, I feel he made such a big impact, especially on that initial split round the Crescent Moon, playing it really well there. And it does take a little bit of guts to be able to do that as well. On a one-man mission, he was certainly happy to do so. I think we've got CPlay's lineup there. What are we seeing coming out from them?
Triple MX 3090, double T69, double T1. Good to see that they've gone back to the basics for this map. I think they're going to be happy with that lineup. They don't have to worry too much about, TCM picked that double IS3 like they did against Lucky Cracky, because it doesn't look like they are doing that. Triple MX 3090, T69. Probably going to be a T69 coming out for them as well. So double T69, double Triple MX 3090 mirror match from both these two.
And your thoughts on this? Will TCM go for the win here, or do you think they'll just draw it out and pick up the win overall anyway?
I would be pretty scared if I was TCM, actually. They know they're the weaker team on Cliff. They know how good CPlay is. I mean, they came this close to winning against Virtus Pro on this map, so
very true.
I think this could be a draw.
Well, we'll find out in a couple of seconds because the teams are ready, I believe. Interesting choices being made there. They have 3 tier 1 still in. For TCM, I think someone's not dropped down just yet, or someone's not picked up the right tank. But good guy CPlay letting them know before Magus just
nice,
occasionally. Yeah, they could have just been, okay, you take those tier 1s, we're fine with that. Challenge you. But yeah, we go. I think Magus just dropped down, so I think the teams are ready. So we're just going to wait on that countdown to beginning. Guys, give us your predictions. Obviously, head over to Twitter and Facebook and get involved and get those final votes through. Because, guys, we are ready for the final map. Cliff. So, welcome into the 5th map. It will be Cliff, and TCM will be in the south, and CPlay will be in the north in blue there. So, currently it is 1-0 to TCM. It's the 5th game. We have been seeing such drawn-out games, and funny enough, it's gone almost the exact same way as the previous matchup. Yeah. And we'll see if it ends the same way as well. And, well, what are we seeing so far?
TCM heading up towards the Lighthouse, as we've seen before. From the south, the Lighthouse Island, maybe a little bit stronger. Lighthouse Island, that's Mines. I mean, below the Lighthouse from the south is definitely the stronger position. And will TCM be able to make use of that? And for the north, CPlay also heading up towards there, not being a little bit cautious like we've seen from Evil Panda Squad before. Eurofish going for that early aggression. Well,
let's see if it pays off, because Nervax, Ruster, Hacky all there as well. 3v3 really, even the first shells are coming through. No massive connections just yet. The dead zone does take one, takes one back as well. So a bit of a flat-out exchange as Ruster does have a little cheeky shot towards Eurofish. But as you said, CPlay from the very offset, aggressive start, as can the same thing be said for TCM. But whose start do you prefer here? Because I've got to say, I like the way Killzor and I believe one other are set up in a more defensive-ish posture. The dead zone obviously back there a little bit further, just supporting. So whose kind of start here do you prefer?
Yeah, I think CPlay can peak a little bit more and get the random shots off as they are right now. YZNE receiving 224 damage onto the MX 1390. Whereas TCM, they have to kind of be aggressive. They have to commit a little bit to get the damage back onto CPlay. That's the problem really for them right now. They do need to hang on for a draw to bring this one for the 3 points, but that's still going to be a struggle for them. And we have to obviously see how that one works out. YZNE starting to rotate around back up towards the kind of small area, small kind of mound, and maybe wanting to find an angle onto the kill zone.
Well, let's find out. 8 minutes left, and not too much damage caused that it would make an issue for either side. Obviously, Durs and YZNE receiving a little, and as did the dead zone. But not enough to break the game open, let's be serious here. They're both still fairly sitting pretty, both in the same positions, no one falling back to a more defensive spot. But I do want to ask, who's got the better setup plan for maybe that fullback-ish moment? Because we seem to have a couple more tanks engaging right now, but there's still 2 split off, those 2 tier 1s, I think. Or is that YZNE? No, it is. YZNE over there on his own. Is that a backup plan that could be spun into gear maybe for TCM, or is that just the way they wanted to start things off?
It's just a good position for the MX 1390 in general. You can spot out the lower area, you can spot out here. I think the real thing I want to comment on is the dead zone getting caught out there. Really not sure why he did that. I can see that CPlay actually want to rotate around and come from another angle, but Eurofish was in just the perfect position to spot him. They got the damage down they need to do in the dead zone, punished to 407 out of 1,350 damage. So if TCM engage, they need to find that weak link. I think he's playing it well though, sitting hull down and just waiting for the push from TCM now. Nervax and Hacky slowly starting to rotate. Remember, against Lucky Karaki, CPlay really couldn't make this tactic work, but they are executing early on, which was their previous mistake.
Nervax and Hacky making their way up. YZNE and E is over towards that right side, so you might spot these guys out pretty damn soon, or get a bit of an inkling towards it. Devil, it's still Mojo actually getting spotted out there and taken a little bit of damage towards the end. First couple of shots going through. YZNE does not connect, however. Second wheel, though. Hacky does take 2, but only one really doing the damage. Down to 8-4-5. Nervax is there, but yet to really be able to single out YZNE, using the cover very well. But I want to see the counterplay from TCM here.
I want to see what they can do, because I'm not sure if CPlay knows that, knew that YZNE was there. They thought TCM had all their forces up towards where Yukai and DJ Red Deep is, but perfect play by them, and really he's got the upper ground. It's kind of that Star Wars situation where it's Anakin versus Obi-Wan, and Anakin tried to jump up and Obi-Wan just chopped off his arm. This is what YZNE can do against Nervax and Hacky. He has got the higher ground, he can make the damage count where he wants to, but just the perfect bits of peeking, a couple of shots here and there, and slowly but surely CPlay will make that really quite substantial HP disadvantage go down. But DJ does even there gets punished for trying to get up the hill.
Yeah, quite drastically too. He's on 389, so pretty much evening the score for the dead zone, taking a big chunk of damage earlier. So interesting play from these two. Nervax going out on a limb. He's going to go for a little bit of a run around, see if he can find YZNE. And Dr. Tor is there obviously as well, but only a tier 1. But I've got to say it, Nervax looking a little bit aggressive here. He looks like he's willing to maybe challenge if he went a little bit further. And YZNE not too aware just yet of his position. Ruster once again peering up and over on that hill, but who's got the advantage right now?
Well, it looks like TCM's slightly shaken by that movement. They have to get themselves together a little bit. Ruster receiving another damage, so the HP now in favor for TCM, but only by a slither. But yeah, CPlay looking good actually, pushing forwards, finding angles which we never thought were possible, getting the damage down where it's needed, but I think they still need to come up with a good plan. I would say YZNE is a little bit of a weakness, but this is the thing, DJ Red Deep had to engage onto Trevor's, and it's going to be a 5 versus 4.
Well, let's find out if it's going to pay off at all. Dekilzor taking 2. That's going to be a big bit of damage coming in. He's on 407. Hacky and Nervax looking like they're moving in for the kill there. And Ruster has to be careful, but these two are trying to single out YZNE. Can he make a run for it here? Shells going in from the backside. YZNE not taking the damage they wanted. Nervax, though, is in trouble. They need to land these shells now. Dekilzor's going to go down. Brilliant play from YZNE. He's making a bit of a great escape, makes a meal of it, and Hacky now comes down after him. but I've got to give credit where it's due. Even on the way out, he picked one up, and Nervex now being pinned down, moving into the complete iron sights of the opponents of TCM. But can they take him out? Yes, they can. That is him gone, and well, CPlay left in tatters.
Ooh, that was brilliant play by TCM. DJ Red Deep just about getting himself in the right situation. Well, not really, actually. He was kind of out of position, but because he was out of position, he's still on full HP. It's going to be very hard for CPlay to find the damage to take him out. Ruster, though, is on high ground, so he's going to be able to scamper away, but there's pretty much no way CPlay can win unless TCM just sit in open ground and get themselves absolutely smashed by Hacky and the AMX 3090. The only tank really with substantial amounts of HP, although Ruster can still do some damage if he finds a good angle. But TCM hanging on.
By a thread almost as well there towards the end, but they did come out a little bit on top. Let's bear in mind, CPlay do have to go for the win here. They cannot draw this one out. It'll be a 1-0 to TCM overall. So if they do want to walk away with any sort of advantage, or at least a point, they've got to go for the win on this map. The dead zone peers up, gets a couple of shells down. Ruster backing away. Hacky as well, lacking maybe a little bit of a secondary plan on this one, but let's see if they can find anything here. Dr. Tour is off on his own on that tier 1, just trying to maybe gain some ground, get some spots out, or even pressure the cap, but we know that it'd take a bit of a miracle to make this one work really here, wouldn't it?
He just wants to get the cap. He's got about 30 seconds to do so. 1 minute and 40 seconds is how long you need with one tank in the cap. Eurofish is in the perfect position to counter this, so that's going to be cancelled out. What happens from there is the question. As TCM are rotating back around, they are getting themselves into a bit more of a defensive position, while CPlay aren't so much in a good position. They aren't really ready to deal with it, but Yukai gets caught.
Yeah, Yukai has been caught out quite drastically. One more big shell will take him down. Luckily not landing for him, but no really coming back either. Yukai has fallen 1 minute and 50, and they're all in the same area. All three tanks in one position, and even Eurofish taking a little from Dr. Tour there as he's splitting off on his own. And this is a dangerous game they're playing. Dr. Tour is doing the work in the tier 1. Finally, Eurofish will dispatch of him, but 1 minute and 35 seconds left. It's a little bit of an overconfident play almost from TCM there, knowing they have the advantage, but they are taking in a little bit of fire here.
Yeah, how can TCM hang on now? Digi Red Deep needs to stay alive. He's receiving a lot of damage. 471 cumulative damage coming onto him. He needs to drop down, join Eurofish. 1 minute and 15 seconds.
See if he can get away unscathed. Dead zone moving in. Hacky as well. 1 minute and 10. 3v3. Oh, wow.
Wow, this is like new. What's his name on Abby? Was that Runes?
I think it was.
It was Runes, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Runes of Season 4.
But still, Ruster is hunting down Durs. Durs will be backing away as well. These guys are trying to make a run for it as best they can and utilize the time left, because obviously they will get taken out. It's a win, but if they stay alive, they win overall. So let's see if Ruster can find him. Oh my god, has Durs just got away? I think he's just played that so friggin' smartly. It's unbelievable. DJ Deep is going down low, but Hacky even lower. Ruster now trying to chase him down, but his teammate just got absolutely decimated. Hacky has been eliminated. 30 seconds left, but once again, Ninja of the Year, Durs, backing away down the cliff face there, leaving it in a 2v2 between the rest of his teammates, but it doesn't matter, because if he stays alive, they win anyway. So now DJ Deep does receive one, Ruster follows, and to be fair to CPlay, they are chasing these guys down, but there's no way they can find both of them.
I'm not sure that they can. 10 seconds remaining. Durs being the absolute ninja of the century, as you said. Eurofish also doing a good job against Hacky. It's 2 versus 2. CPlay and TCM pretty much on the same amount of HP, but at the end of the day, TCM get away with it.
Yeah, just about. And that play, I want to watch a replay of that one, because he literally just scampered away down the cliff face in the perfect timing. But it will be a win overall in the end for TCM. Obviously that draw at the end not really helping out CPlay at all. They needed the victory there to even just draw it up properly. So not exactly the ideal results. And CPlay, what can we really read into their play that we've seen today?
Just good stuff. I think, honestly, very impressive stuff. They were the team we wanted to see from CPlay. Lucky Karaki, they were good couple of first maps. The consistency just slid away. And to beat TCM, it is really winning that first map. If CPlay wanted to win this one, they had to win Himmelsdorf, which they didn't. TCM were the better team. In general, the two teams played a very similar tactic, just from the north and one from the south. But TCM had the better synergy going forwards.
I agree.
And you could see where the experience of TCM really shone.
No, I completely agree with what you said there. It's another good display from CPlay, though. This is what I want to see them kind of picking up a victory soon, because
they're getting better.
They're so close to doing brilliantly. That's the thing, compared to a lot of the other new teams, excluding Lucky Karaki, who are just another complete entity within itself. They're such a great addition, and they've got some brilliant potential. I just want to see it really kind of fine-tuned and put to use. But still, overall, TCM walking away with the win there, so excuse me, securing themselves at the very top of the league pretty much, along there with Virtus Pro and people like that, obviously doing very well for themselves. So not a bad way to start this one out for TCM. But then again, they did the same last season and let it slip almost. So it's hard to read into this. But still, we still have one more game coming up tonight, and it's going to be the Leprechauns up against Kazna Crew. Now, to me, it's just what can Kazna Crew show us today. The Leprechauns are dangerous, though. They have picked up some great victories leading up to this one, and certainly some brilliant maps against some very good teams. But do you think they stand a chance against Kazna?
Well, they came second in Go for this previous weekend. They took out all sorts of great teams. It's pretty insane, actually, if you consider this team qualified 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
they were nobody. They were really nobodies on the scene. No one really knew who they were. It was like a team thrown together from some high-level, high-skilled RSOP players. Obviously going to be good, but this good, we never had any idea. Looking like a contender to be one of the best new teams alongside CPlay coming into the season. But I think Kazna Crew are the more experienced, as was TCM against CPlay. I think that experience is going to count for a lot.
I tend to agree with you. But guys, before we even get to that, you get to check in with Melly once again, our beautiful social media guru, who'll be joining us in just a second. So guys, stay tuned. We'll be back in 5.